So it's winter time here in Pennsylvania, and that means it's time to do a little bit of plant research, look for some new plants to fill out some of the blank areas of my garden beds. And one of the coolest things about horticulture is that new plants they're constantly being created every single year by professional breeders and growers. And my favorite shrub would be hydrangea, so my ears always perk up whenever I hear of new hydrangeas hitting the market. So in this video, I want to go through 5 new hydrangeas that have been either released in this last year or the last couple years, plants that you might want to consider adding to your garden. Even if you think your flower beds are totally full, the wintertime, it's a great time to do some editing. If you have some plants that just have not been doing what you want them to do in the garden, maybe consider taking them out now and replacing them with one of the 5 hydrangeas that I'm about to show you guys here in this video. So the first one on the list is the Hydrangea Cherry Go Round. Yeah, this is a big leaf hydrangea, Hydrangea macrophylla, and it was bred by the breeders at Bloomin' Easy. They do lots of cool new plants coming out with great stuff every single year. Now, just as a step backwards, big leaf hydrangeas, those are plants that are gonna need like a part sun situation. If you live up north, a little bit more sun, if you live down south, a little bit less sun, but morning sun seems to be the right equation for these guys. And they do like consistent moisture. That's something that all big leaf hydrangeas are going to want. But the Cherry Go Round, a couple things I love about it. Number one, it has this rich, dark green foliage. Absolutely, just it looks so healthy, and it's a good size. It only gets like 3 feet tall and wide, so it's not going to just like take over your garden space. You can plant it at the foundation of your home. Me personally, I have some cherry laurels that are kind of like by my front door. It'd be a perfect plant to put just in front of your cherry laurels, things like that, with in front of those evergreens. But what the Cherry Go Round does so well is those big red blooms. That's what have me drooling. I want some red hydrangea flowers in my garden. I don't know about you, but I don't have any red hydrangeas in my garden yet, but I will after I get some of these planted, that's for sure. Now the second one on the list is the Hydrangea Onyx. This is also a big leaf hydrangea, so it's gonna want similar growing conditions to the Cherry Go Round. But it's a little different. The Cherry Go Round is a nice round kind of shrub. This is gonna be a little bit more upright. So it gets about 4 feet tall and only about 2 feet wide. So it does have, you can put a few of them next to each other and it kind of produces this screen-like effect, which is really great. What I like about this one is you can choose the flamingo pink or the peacock blue, but to keep those colors really true, as a reminder, big leaf hydrangeas, their flower color is very dependent on the acidity of your soil. So if you live where your soil is very acidic, those blues will definitely retain. And if you live where your soil is alkaline, you're gonna really skew more on that pink side. So that's just a point of reference. But the onyx, why is it called onyx? It's those stems. The stems are a dark onyx color, which is, I have like 30 different hydrangeas out in my garden. I don't have any with dark stems. And if you're watching this channel, that means you're a plant lover. That means you're a savvy gardener. And having little details like that really just shows that you're detail oriented. That's what turns a good garden into something spectacular, a real true art form garden. So that's what I love about this onyx hydrangea. Yeah, it has gorgeous flowers, but those dark stems, something unique, something else. Now the third one on the list, it's the Hydrangea Game Changer. This is also a macrophylla, a big leaf hydrangea, but it's definitely different than those first two. This is actually, it has lace cap style flowers, which first and foremost, that's gonna set this one apart from the other big leaf hydrangeas that you might have in your garden. But furthermore, it has these beautiful light green leaves that the way that the plant grows, it kind of looks like it just floats. And that's what I love about this plant. It's super unique. It only gets about 2 feet tall, but about 3 feet wide. So it's more of a wider kind of spreading hydrangea that it would look great on a slope. It would look really beautiful at the top of a retaining wall where it can just almost flow over the edge. And this hydrangea, it's really unique because it is daylight neutral, which means that it should be able to produce its flowers much earlier in the season than other hydrangeas, but it's also going to continue to flower all summer long, and once the days start to get shorter, it's still going to continue to bloom. So that's why it's called Game Changer, because it's a very reliable blooming hydrangea. So if you've had trouble getting your hydrangeas to bloom in the past, this one's a really great option. And the flower colors are going to depend on the acidity of your soil, just like we mentioned. So they'll range from like a pink to more of a purplish color depending on your soil conditions. So next up on the list is the early evolution hydrangea. Now this is a hydrangea paniculata. So this is going to be our first panicle hydrangea on the list. And as just, you know, a reference point, panicle hydrangeas, they're typically going to want more sunlight than those big leaf hydrangeas, and they're also considerably more drought tolerant than those big leaf hydrangeas. So these are going to be situated in a much different area of the garden than those first three plants. But the early evolution, it's not your typical panicle hydrangea. The flowers, first of all, they look a lot more like a lace cap flower. Panicle hydrangeas are called panicle hydrangeas because the flowers should look like a panicle, but these have a much more lace cap style, and they really just kind of like blanket the top of the plants, which is totally unique. The plants are actually are also super short and wide, so it's like they're like 2 feet tall and 2 feet wide. It's kind of like almost like a ground covering style hydrangea, which is totally out of this world, unlike any sort of hydrangea I've seen in the past. And it makes it available, you know, accessible to grow in a lot of different areas. You could put it along walkways, maybe at your entryway even. Very unique. Now the flowers on these guys are going to start off as like a white, and then like many panicle hydrangeas, they're going to change colors from the beginning of the summer all the way through your autumn. So by the end of autumn, they should have these sort of honeyed pinkish tones about them. So that's really unique, really cool. And the last one on the list is the Hydrangea paniculata polar bear. This is like an update on the classic limelight. So many of us have the limelight, and personally, it's nice because it gets big, but they get so big they start to flop, and I don't like that. And I know a lot of you guys don't like that either. So the polar bear is going to be smaller than the limelight, only about 4 to 6 feet tall, and because it's smaller, this is a little bit sturdier. So you're not going to have that floppiness about your plant. But the flowers are enormous. They're like 10 to 12 inch, huge cones. They look like a football, honestly. And they're going to start off as like a lime green, then they're going to turn to that pure polar bear white in the summertime, and then finally by autumn they're going to start to take on those nice rosy pink tones. So with that, now we've taken a look at 5 new awesome hydrangeas that consider adding them to your garden. If you're looking for places to purchase them, go check out my website, plant-vibrations.com, and you'll find a lovely selection of different hydrangeas, including a lot of what we just went through on this video. And if you do have any further questions or comments or any new hydrangeas that you think are just divine, make sure you leave those names listed in the comment section so I can read it, as well as the others in this plant community. Anyways, thanks for joining me here on Plant Vibrations. I'll catch you guys soon. Ciao. If you have some blank areas in your garden space that you're looking to fill with unique plants, check out my website, plant-vibrations.com. You'll find tons of different perennials and annuals, flowering shrubs, edible plants, indoor plants that my family grows, and we will ship them out across the country and they will arrive at your doorstep. And every single plant that you purchase from my website will allow me to continue to create content that's going to help our plant community grow and flourish.